I am in. I'm in. Oh, hello.
I can hear you. I can't see you yet.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Hang on. I need to figure out what's going on here. Why is it not filming me? What is up with your computer?
Bottom left, there's a little camera icon. Oh, there we go.
Excellent. I need to maybe try hitting it more.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, yourself?
You good? I'm good, thank you. You've got a magnificent trophy on your wall.
Thank you. Yes,
behind
this is
you
my this is my recent winnings at Broome Congress. I'm sure I'll put that on the chat, the chessboxing chat.
Oh, was that a chess tournament? Is it?
Tournament. Yes, it was. Yes.
Wow, was that first prize?
Yeah.
It looks enormous.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I won the section. So absolutely chuffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to walk around with this.
So how many people did you have to beat to win that one?
Oh, it was 72 entrants. There were 5 rounds, and I got 5 out of 5. So there we go.
Wow.
Boom.
Hi there.
Yeah.
Hi, Dash.
Hello, Dash.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Perfect.
How are things with you, Dash? Oh, he's got the red wine. It must be all right.
I'm good. I'm on holiday at the moment. I'm in St. Ives in Cornwall.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, great. How's the weather?
It's nice. It's sort of by the beach. So yeah, it's good.
Good. You do a bit of surfing?
No surfing actually. Went out on a boat today, but yeah, no surfing. I'd probably be very bad at it. But it was a bit of a nightmare getting down here because of the train strike. So we ended up having to get an overnight coach from London.
Oh my God.
8 hours through the night, yeah.
Oh dear. You're there now. How long are you there for?
Coming back tomorrow. So it's quite brief really, just Saturday to Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any nice seafood?
Yeah, really, really good seafood. Had some yesterday. So yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. What I'll do is I'll just have a chat about yourselves, and then we'll talk about the actual fight as well and the show itself. So just remind us, Matt, what do you do for a living?
I am a technical repair specialist at Name Audio, who make hi-fi equipment.
Awesome. That really high-end audio kit, isn't it?
Tippity top-end stuff, yeah.
And Dash, what do you do?
I'm a civil servant, so I'm at the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities, and I'm currently working on developer contributions, which is like basically how much developers contribute to the government when they're building new buildings.
So I've got to ask, is it actually called the Department for Levelling Up?
It is indeed, yeah. That's the current name.
That's so video game.
I was going to say, was it decided by somebody who's into gaming?
No, well, it's a levelling up slogan. It's sort of like this government's main, policy agenda. It's about
it's that thing, isn't it?
Yeah, about levelling up all the other parts of the country to London is the idea.
Okay, and so Dashiell, where did you? Because your ring name is Demontime. Where does that come from?
To be honest, it doesn't have like particularly amazing story behind it. It's just a phrase. I guess it's like a slang phrase that I've heard before. You know, when you're kind of you have to do something, tough. You got to go into Demontime mode. So it's had the alliteration obviously with my name.
So does that imply that you move quickly on the board?
Yeah. That's true. It could be to do with that as well.
Did you find that?
Yeah, that could be a meaning I haven't yet thought of. Yeah.
Did you find that, Matt, when you were playing Dash, that he was moving quickly?
I mean, you can go back and watch it, and it's irrefutable. He was moving quickly. So I make a move, and immediately the next challenge is presented. So down, Christ's sake. Limited time in this position. It wasn't out with the fact that I've never seen a Benoni before.
Yeah.
And so I have no idea. Like I know that I've got a good position. I just wish I knew how to make progress with it. And that's just like blitzing out moves immediately. It's Christ, I've got to actually work out what to do. This wasn't the game plan. The game plan was neither of us have a clue. Now it's just me who hasn't a clue.
So you were thinking, was he thinking on your clock, Matt?
I mean, I'm not sure how much he needed to think, really. Just instant stuff.
Yeah.
Instant responses were coming out. It wasn't. Yeah, I think the regret from my end is that I didn't pose enough practical problems that necessitated Dashiell getting sinking into a deep think. If I could have gone back and slapped myself in the face and got myself to play slightly differently, there are a couple of opportunities I had to stir things up slightly more. And then when I tried towards the end, started playing for tricks, I tricked myself.
Because I did have a look back at the game before the interview, and it was quite congested. Like the early game, it was just all the pieces were just in the middle, and it was all like chock-a-block. And I think I think Matt, you were trying to attack down the king side, but actually the break came on the queen side, didn't it? Eventually.
Yeah. I should have tried to attack down the king side. I didn't put as much pressure on as I should. I mean, to be honest, it was an almost embarrassingly professional game. It was fairly calm. We just played normal chess. Just Dashiell played slightly quicker and slightly cleaner than me. There are a couple of opportunities. We both made there was a minor tactical oversight towards the beginning, which both of us missed, where I had an opportunity to get a better position. And then in the it was after the commentators went absolutely mad at missing was it F4, F5, and I had to move the knight back. If I'd have chosen to move it back to D7 as opposed to C6, I could have rerouted it to F6 then, and it gives me a slightly better position. And also could have kept the queen, shifted the queen over to the G file. Just after Dash played F3, there were opportunities for me to poke around a bit on the king side. It's not nothing winning. The computer doesn't think there's much there, but it just presents a few more practical problems than I did with the game continuing. Just more practical problems than the game continuation. It was slightly tame on my end, which is not the sort of chess that I'm want to be playing, I'm used to, I'm good at, any of the above.
So Dashiell, we'll get onto the boxing in a minute, but how did you find the game changed as the boxing rounds continued? Did that affect the chess and how that developed, do you think?
I think on the chess game, you know, I had played Matt a couple of times before in the Hamlet Cafe, and actually the score was 2-2 or something. Like I think he beat me
it was even 2-2 going in.
So I actually, despite, I think there's a big, you know, gap in sort of ECF rating points, but even so, I sort of wasn't taking Matt lightly because I knew that actually in those blitz games he's clearly quite a strong player, and actually knew theory very well. So that's why I actually was quite glad to get white, because there was less chance I can get blown off the board by some good prep, and also as black, it would have been more tricky. But even in the game as white, I was quite. That's why I played the sort of knight F3, C4 sort of business, because I just wanted to get it out of some prep, because I figured Matt might have really prepared some good stuff against E4. I mean, I was even spending ages preparing these bizarre lines like E4, E5, bishop C4, F5. I was just assuming you're going to play F5 in the opening and sort of try and go for some big attack.
I can neither confirm nor deny that was the plan all along. And I had an F5 line leading to a queen sacrifice that I found in an Adolf Anderson game that I was really hoping for.
Well, it was actually quite funny because in the week before the fight, I think you posted a selfie with this like crazy position on the board.
Yes.
Because we all had to post to the Chessboxing group, and even that made me think, God, this must be some like prep, which involves a lot of sacks of material.
that prep was from the Ulvestad Variation in the Two Knights Defense, which I was going to hope that you would see, recognize-ish, and then I was going to play the Ruso gambit instead. Yeah. So it was all part of an elaborate setup, which didn't matter anyway because you played knight F3, and I still had a gambit there. And then you
Yeah.
played. I was hoping for the reverse Venco, and then I can play G5 explosions. And then
Oh,
you
wow.
played. Then you played D3, and I got rather sad because
Yeah.
Benoni. I know the Benoni is a bit got a slightly dubious reputation, but
Yeah.
that only applies if you know anything at all about the Benoni. So I got a position which I knew was fine, and I have no idea why it was fine.
Yeah.
So well, I've got 8 minutes to figure out why I'm fine. I guess we'll see.
But I mean, to your earlier question, Gav, about whether it changed with the boxing, I think it did to some extent. I think I was fortunate in that probably the most significant blows I took were more to the body than the head, which probably slightly less debilitating to your chest.
Yeah, well, I know, and I'm sure you don't mind me saying because you spoke about it on the night, but obviously the build up to the show, you were probably more nervous than most, or at least as nervous.
Yeah.
But I thought when you sat down to play chess, all that seemed to be, it didn't affect you at all. Like you seemed very calm in front of the chessboard.
I feel like the chess is my natural habitat. You know, I spent all of last year going to things like Four Corner Club or OTB South Bank, which are just great sort of, you know, outdoor chess things. And I'm always playing with sort of friends like, well, Sam Walker, who did the commentary, people like Chris Dunn, you know, sort of strong players. So I feel like I'm very sort of used to blitz, and that felt quite natural, really. But I think what I was nervous about before the fight as well was kind of the crowd and knowing there would be, you know, roughly 200. I don't know how many tickets you sold in the night, but around 200 maybe?
About 400 people.
400 people. Wow. So, I mean, because I'd never, you know, even been in a play or been in a performance or anything which involved all those eyes on me. So I guess that was a big unknown factor. Because obviously I had done sparring and I had played a lot of chess, but doing it on the stage was definitely quite a daunting prospect. But somehow when I went out there and as soon as I sort of did the, you know, entrance walk, a lot of the nerves kind of went away. And even when Matt did, you know, very kind of quite impressive ring walk and all of that, you know, I was enjoying it as opposed to like, oh, fuck. So I don't know why there was such a big difference between how I felt on the night as to how I felt a couple of days before. It's quite bizarre.
Yeah, I thought your ring walk was great. I thought Matt's was good too. I think Matt seems to be more of a natural showman. Like you just seem to.
I think so.
Like, it's like you'd been in the ring your whole life. How did your entrance go? Do you think, Matt?
Oh, it was probably the most fun bit of the entire evening. I've got to be honest. It was absolutely. I mean, the other thing is because we'd obviously seen some footage of each other sparring, and I'd seen Dashiell been in the ring a few times with Dave, the Northern powerhouse, Dave Germany. So I knew he was a tough lad and obviously a very, very good chess player with the white pieces. So I thought, right, well, I'm not going to be able to just bash him out with a big shot. There's no point me even going for that. It's going to have to be accumulation. We're going to have to make him crack. So the entire aura, I was trying to be as terrifying as possible to come out with boom music, big, you know, spread the lats, big man, hype the crowd up and try to make him wilt under the pressure. But unfortunately, it brought the heat and it only made Dash stronger. He really rose to the occasion in a big way. And yeah, all credit goes to him. He was the better man on the night.
There was a moment because I was quite nervous because I knew that Dash was nervous, but there was a moment.
Yeah,
I can usually tell within the first like 10-20 seconds of the boxing round how it's going to go and how people are coping. And there was a moment, I don't think it was it could be in the first round of boxing, I'm not sure, where there was like a slight pause in the boxing, and then Dash did this kind of little head movement.
Yeah, he did that twice.
What else have you got?
Yeah, he did that twice in the first round.
Towards the end.
Yeah, this is going to be fine. But in fairness, Matt, you're I was really impressed with the technical elements for your boxing. You were active. You threw a lot of punches. You were more. You mixed up a bit more. You were throwing straight punches, and then you were throwing body shots and hooks, and it was good.
Well, I had to bring I had to bring the pace basically because I knew that Dashiell was a tough guy, plenty strong, and the chess I was going to be up against it. So I trained pretty damn hard, my stamina was there, so I knew I could push the pace. That was what I was going to get. I was going to try and grind him out, but yeah, just
yeah.
So
it was
too strong for me. Too resilient.
what were your tactics? Because I noticed that you had a good guard and you were absorbing a few punches on your guard, and then you were trying to counter a couple of good overhands.
Yeah, well, it was interesting really because I think, like Matt was saying, we were sort of unknown quantities to each other because we'd never sparred in the gym. We'd only seen videos on the WhatsApp, so it's quite hard really to make an assessment. And what I was worried about as well is obviously he's 3 inches taller than me. Like, I think I had 6 foot on my fighter profile. I don't know if I'm being generous to myself there. I don't know if 5'11" is more accurate.
Is 6 foot on your dating profile as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew it was going to be tough, but for that sort of height advantage. And to be honest, I sort of had a bit of a problem in preparation, and I was struggling to get out running as much as I could. Just had a sort of injury. So I think had it have gone 3 or 4 rounds, I think the fitness might have really started to benefit Matt. But yeah, my plan was sort of cover up, because I knew in amateur boxing, and it's obviously both of our first fight, most people's going to headhunt first. He might not work the body straight away. So I thought if I can keep a decent high guard, I think in the first round I was quite effective at sort of absorbing a fair bit on the guard and then countering. I feel like the main shot I was really throwing was that overhand right and trying to follow it up with the left hook. I think I did land it a couple of times in round 1, but I think
definitely I felt that.
Yeah, but I think round 2, Matt's corner gave really good advice actually, which was to sort of go for the body, and that made it a lot more of a difficult round 2 for me.
Yeah, they were screaming underneath all through all 2 minutes. Underneath, as I was trying to drop beneath them and get the right hook was really effective. I didn't throw the left quite enough, but being able to shift around to the right and go underneath Dash's guard, that was really working for me. The one shot I couldn't quite employ. Yeah, the one shot I couldn't quite employ was my left uppercut. I went to that a few times and just hit elbow, and it was the last dying seconds of that second round. I landed a big left uppercut, and I heard Dashiell. I heard a grunt, and I knew I'd gone home. Yeah. And if you look at the look to fight back, Dash doesn't walk back to his corner. He walks to the wrong corner after that shot. And obviously, I felt that I'd hurt him, and so knowing that I was running out of time in the chest, I was like, right, chaos. And it turns out, he wasn't nearly as hurt as I thought, and the tactics fell for him much better than they did for me. As it turns out, I was the one who couldn't think properly. And I think in that position getting more complicated, he completely shredded me.
I think in that last round of chess, I felt very confident because I knew what the clock situation was, and I knew there were 4-minute chess rounds, and I think you had about 2 minutes 20 on the clock.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes, roughly.
Yeah, so I knew that if I'm moving pretty instantly, you're really going to be pressed for time. Yeah. So that's why I was almost thinking that second round of boxing, I just need to survive it, and then I thought I've got a pretty good chance on that last chess round, because that was, to be honest, a large part of my tactic on the chess was thinking, okay, the chess rounds were actually quite long compared to the boxing rounds.
Yeah, that was one thing.
As new fighters, we only had 4-minute boxing rounds. So I thought, if I can just keep a high pace on the chess, the clock's going to be a factor pretty soon, really. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it did become a factor very, very quickly. And towards the end, I think there was from a strategic point of view, I should have just gone into a losing endgame and played super fast, just made it simple, losing but simple, and played loads of moves. But I was caught up in the moment. I was insisting, no, he'll drop the ball soon enough. He's going to drop the ball. Just jettison the entire queenside, go for some counterplay. And it turns out that was completely the wrong plan. And I ran out of time anyway, so it was all just a total disaster. Had you got
to a third boxing round, it could have been interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think if you kept going for the body, it would have been a struggle to get through the third. Yeah.
Well, that was. I wasn't gonna. I was just starting to get my rhythm going. The second boxing round, I started getting a proper groove going. So I think had he been to a third, it would have been more of the same. But again, like there was. Dash wasn't wilting, you know. I was definitely getting the better of him, but he was still there, still throwing, and that's the other thing. Also, is that even in that second round where I was landing more shots, it's not like I got away scot free. There was one big overhand crashed into me. I was in the corner closest, I think, to where you were, Gavin. Crashed into me, and I suddenly realised my left leg was not responding in the way that it was supposed to. And so, oh no! Yes. But luckily, Dasher was either too tired or
didn't follow it up.
Too tired to, or just didn't notice how much it hurt me. And I got a couple of seconds to sort my feet out and then come back forwards on the jab.
That's probably the kind of thing that comes with bringing experience to sort of know when you've hurt someone, actually, because I think. Definitely, I feel like I landed probably more shots to the head in the fight, actually. But I just couldn't tell if they'd even rocked you or not, really, because I think you were sort of doing a thing where I think when someone's lands a good shot, you've got a habit of kind of like slucking the gloves a bit, like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, that was the one in the first round where something got to you, and then you drop your hands. That was a funny moment, actually, just in the ring, because they are. All right, let's go. And Dash drops his hands, and we both just smiled at each other.
It was really funny.
Just grinning for the rest of the round. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I think my head was protected slightly by the bulky plaits, though. Definitely helped me out there. So I was clipped with a couple of big ones.
I think I was quite interested with the way the boxing developed because Dash was soaking up quite a few punches, but he was still. You weren't dominating the center of the ring, Matt, because he was able to make you hit his guard, and then as you came forward, as you threw a flurry, you dropped your hands, and then he came often than not, he'd come over with an overhand, and that would kind of set you back a bit.
The other thing is that we both exploited each other's guard quite well. Dasher was keeping his guard quite wide, which actually left some room for me to get the straight shots in. There wasn't massive power behind them. It wasn't massive power behind them, but at least I was able to back him up. Whereas I was keeping mine really tight, and Dash was just going around it. And he was able to when I was closing the distance looking for that body shot, he just clubbed me around the side of my guard. So even if it wasn't placed, it needed to be to the side more because the hooks were still getting through.
Did you manage to remember your technique, or do you think that you perhaps I don't know? I'm asking the question because I thought technically you were pretty good, Matt, but what you did somehow your left hand was a bit low, and he just kept coming over, didn't he?
I was quite happy with how the one thing I picked out watching back was that I dropped my right hand when I threw the jab a little too much. And I didn't pop my shoulder enough on the jab. That's how he got me. I need to raise my shoulder more, give me slightly more protection. Because when I did do that, the shot skimmed over the top rather than smashing me in the temple. But other than that, and my left wasn't nearly accurate enough with the hooks and uppercuts. But other than that, actually, I was very happy. I was very happy with the way I fought.
Yeah, I mean, I think you both. You both, especially considering it's your first time in the ring, I thought you both had a very good showing, really, really good chess, but also very entertaining. The whole thing was great. The intros were great. The fight was good. There was good dynamicism. It's not like you were just dancing around each other, was it? There wasn't a moment of peace. It was fantastic.
I think there's a lot for both of us to be proud of from our first fight, actually. I think we can both be pretty pleased with the show we put on for the fans. And
I agree.
Hopefully there's more to come from both of us, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Dashiell, what did you think of the rest of the show? Did you manage to watch? Because you guys were on second, I think.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because I was really keen to see the rest of the fights, and I did actually step out of the dressing room for a bit to watch the girls fight at the beginning, Ruth and Danlo, which was a very good fight. I mean, they really were landing some quite heavy punches on each other. It was almost different to ours because, like, my one, I was taking a lot on the guard, but they were almost just trading and landing a lot. Then obviously I was really supporting Gerard Anderson because he'd been really supportive of me in the run up to the fight, because we were both doing it. We were training together. He was giving me lots of advice. So I was really shouting for him to hang in there against Martin. But I mean, gosh, that was, I don't think I'd have lasted in there a minute. So I mean, that guy was pretty, very fit, throwing a lot, and so that was a good fight. I mean, obviously the Berserker and Andrew was good fun, and Cheyenne as well. Obviously, unfortunate with the quick finish on the chest, but brilliant night of fights.
Yeah, I think Cheyenne is a better chess player than that. Actually, I was surprised he didn't defend that better.
Yeah, me too. Because I've played him a couple of times, and he seemed very tactically sharp. So it was a surprise that it all finished so quickly with just quite a cheap tactic. But I suppose when you're under the bright lights, and anything can happen, and it does. From time to time, some people play horrendous mistakes do happen occasionally.
Yeah, I think Andre was perhaps quite a wily kind of experienced tournament player, and sort of knew how to mix it up early, would be my assessment. I think he
but
he got a ton of activity so quickly. It's great out of the opening. It's made life very difficult for Shine.
Yeah, he's kind of known for, well, he's won at least one chess boxing bout in the first round of chess, sort of queen trap. That's kind of, he really does get stuck in like straight away, and it gets you thinking. He's very, very, in fairness as well, he's a much stronger blitz player than Cheyenne on paper as well. And actually, I thought Cheyenne was shading it in the boxing. It would have been interesting to see how Andre held up if it had gone more rounds of boxing, because I think Cheyenne possibly would have grown into the chess game if he was able to, force some of his advantage in the boxing. It would have been interesting to see how that had played out. But
he just needed a better sort of base to work from out of the opening. He just got blown off the board. Whereas, in the boxing, I thought Cheyenne was totally dominant, to be honest. But in fairness, maybe that's because Andre knew he just needed to survive, and he had a mate in two when he came back. So perhaps he was just playing it safe. But I suppose we'll only find out if we get to see it again, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Andre will come and fight for us again, or perhaps we'll be over in Germany, because obviously he's from Essen, and I know he's quite keen to work with Joseph and some of the guys in Berlin as well. So, but lovely guy though. He's an absolute legend. Andre couldn't be a nice enough person.
He was in my dressing room before the fight, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was there with his son actually, and his son was sort of in his corner.
Yeah, I think his whole family was over actually.
Yeah.
I think his wife was there, and he had a son and a daughter there. And it was really nice to hang out with him. I managed to grab a beer with Andre as well after the show, because I never really get to socialize with anyone, but I did manage to catch Andre before. I think he had to take his. It was past his daughter's bedtime, but yeah. So guys, is there anything else you want to say, Dashiell, about the show, or who was in your corner? I've forgotten. Oh, was it Deli?
So I had yes, two cornermen. One was Deli Martins, who incidentally is interested in doing a chess boxing bout himself.
So I understand. He's on my list if I can find something for him.
Yeah. So we might do, if that ever did happen, we might do roles reversed, and I might have a go in the corner. But I think he just really loved the show, and he really loved the atmosphere of it, and thought, I want to be on the stage. I think he's a bit more of a natural performer than me, so he's sort of and my other cornerman was called Ralph, and he actually is a strong chess player himself. He's perhaps about 2000 standard, and also knows a decent bit about boxing, because I think did it when he was young. Also worked as a nightclub bouncer for a while, so he kind of knew a bit about fighting, and they were both a brilliant set of cornermen. Actually, I couldn't really have asked for more support in the corner, so that was great. Yeah.
And who's in your corner, Matt?
Two lads from the Salisbury Boxing Gym where I train. So there's Ray Sparrow, who's very experienced boxing trainer, and a young lad called Kaz, who happily volunteered to come down with me after Max, the chap who was going to be cornering me, unfortunately injured his back, so couldn't travel down. So yeah, those two, yeah, they were fantastic. Yeah, big shout out to them for training me beforehand and dealing with my rubbish in the ring, even though they had no clue what was going on the entire time as well, because I don't think either of them play chess.
Well,
Just
you don't need to play
absolutely
chess
clueless
to
as to the whole
be
event.
corner man. They're not allowed to advise on chess anyway.
No,
yeah.
but it was just I don't know, because my dad and my brother turned up to watch, and apparently when Dashiell checkmated me, Ray just turned around to them and shrugged his shoulders. He had no idea what was going on. Didn't realise it was finished. Hadn't a clue that's what was going on. Yeah.
But I mean, I think they were brilliant with the sort of tactical advice.
Oh
and the
yeah,
boxing.
absolutely.
It really, it was noticeable how much harder it made it for me in round 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just before you go, Matt, what is your favourite chocolate bar?
I think we've been through this before, haven't we?
Yeah, I can never remember though. I can't keep it on my head.
Well, I've been eating a lot of Montezuma's chocolate. If you're ever anywhere near Chichester, Montezuma's do fabulous chocolate. Thoroughly recommend.
Is it a local product? Is it?
Not that local to Salisbury, but it's a small chocolatier type thing in the south. And but in terms of like a proper chocolate bar, it would be a Boost.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah,
absolute filth.
And Dashiell, what have you? I think you said something about diabetes last time we brought up the Boost, didn't you? Dashiell, what are you eating down in Cornwall? Sorry, rather.
Well, we're going to go for dinner soon to the same restaurant as yesterday, actually, because it was so good. So we're going to get, I think there was whitebait, scallops, oysters, just really maxing out on the seafood. Lovely down here, yeah.
Jealous.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, I'm going to have to wrap things up. We've run out of time. But just a reminder that our next show is on the 7th of October. Get your tickets at chessboxingnation.com. And you can watch the whole thing on a live stream, Chessboxing YouTube channel. But thank you very much for coming on the show. Thanks for fighting. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again in the gym. So, yeah, thanks very much, Matt.
You're very welcome.
And thanks very much, Dash. Oh, has he gone already?
Thank you, Gav. Have a good evening.
Yeah,
I'm here. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, listener. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Okay, goodbye.
Adios.
Well done, guys. Enjoy your evening. Thanks very much.
Will do.
Well, thanks very much to Dashiell and Matt for coming on the podcast for fighting our last events. If you'd like to see Matt in the ring again, we have unfortunately sold out for our next event on the 7th of October, Oktoberfist 23. But you can catch all the action. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/chessboxing.